All right. In general, what is the Koala Hospital about?
So the main role of the Koala Hospital is to rescue koalas that are either in a dangerous location or are sick or injured, and diagnose what's wrong with them and provide treatments and rehabilitation. And then if they're fit to go back into the wild, then we'll release them into the wild where we found them.
And what's the procedure when a koala is found somewhere, I don't know, injured or
Yeah.
whatever?
So it really depends. So if it's a koala that has been spotted that is either in a dangerous, if it's a koala that is in a dangerous location, our rescue team will go and try and catch it. If it looks completely fine, the koala will be put somewhere in the area where it's safer. If it looks not quite completely fine or the rescues are not sure, the koala will be brought in and we will assess it. So we will do a screen. If the koala is completely healthy, it will be released in the safe location close to where it was found, like really quickly within 24 hours. If we assess that the koala is sick, then we will keep the koala and treat it.
Okay. And what's your daily business is looking like when you come here?
As a vet,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
okay. So as a vet, when I come in the morning, I go around the hospital. I look at all the animals that are there. I also look at the exhibit animals to make sure everything is all right, if they have eaten enough, if they have passed scats. And so when that is assessed, I have to chat with the teams in the morning, the volunteers that
Yeah.
work in koala care, and we just mention, have you noticed anything wrong? Is there any particular koala that needs special attention? And so I come back inside. So if a koala is brought in and needs to be assessed, I will do a screen. We're not at the moment getting too many koalas. Unfortunately, the numbers are down, and because they're so endangered that we're not seeing as many koalas as we used to. So if there is a koala that comes in because it needs to be rescued, I will assess it, so do a screen. If there's no koala to assess, then I will work on other things. So my role here is varied. I do look after the koalas that are here or come in, but I also work with researchers.
Yeah.
So I communicate a lot with researchers. We have our own research happening. We are also building a breeding facility.
Yeah.
So there is a lot of work involved in that, whether it's just legal stuff, licenses, procedures, how we're going to operate, finding volunteers, so all that kind of thing.
What are the challenges that the koalas have to come here? So what are they facing? What are the most common things?
Okay, so there are different things. So there is chlamydia, is an infectious disease, so it's a bacteria, and that ends up killing koalas. So we see a lot of koalas with chlamydia. Road or vehicle accidents is a big one as well. Dog bites is a big one as well. And another one that we're facing is, and it's a big one, is loss of habitats. So koalas have a home range. So they have somewhere where they live and they want to stay there. And koalas, they don't live together, but they live next to each other. So they have actually a structure. Even though within their own home range, they don't live together in the same home range. They have neighbors and they have a structured home ranges. And because of the loss of habitats, then their home ranges are shrinking, and so they're not finding enough territory to live.
Yeah.
The young koalas, once they're ready to leave their mother, they disperse, so they go away from where they were born to look for another home range.
Yeah.
And because the territory is so fragmented, they have to cross roads, they have to go far away to find suitable land, and that's why we see a lot of accidents, whether it's motor vehicles, whether it's dog attacks. And when they can't disperse because there isn't just enough habitat in the area, it's too far to travel, then they sort of stay together in the same community and they start to inbreed. So instead of bringing their genes to a new environment and having new individuals bring their genes to this environment, then all the gene pool stays within that environment and koalas inbreed, and that causes genetic defects. So it is a bit of an issue, but really not too much for us in Port Macquarie. But like in Victoria, koalas are highly inbred, and you see a lot of health issues because of this inbreeding.
And this is happening because people taking the habitat, or?
Yeah, it's because of housing development.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
So if you want to go down to Lake Katai, which is 20 minutes away from here, it used to be magnificent forests. Now it's all chopped down to put houses. Like hectares and hectares of habitats being lost each year.
And is there anything people can do about it?
Yes. One thing I forgot to tell you, another challenge that koalas are facing is droughts and fires, of course. So obviously we're not suffering from droughts and fires this year.
Yes.
But it has happened and it will happen again. So that's another challenge. And so yes, there are lots of things that people can do overall to help koalas. First, everything you can do against global warming. Absolutely. So whether it's being mindful of, how you use your energy, waste, all that. You can, especially if you've got a dog, for example, and you live in an area where there are koalas, or you go for a walk where there are koalas, keep your dog on leash, because if you're walking your dog and there is a koala on the ground, your dog will just take off and bite and kill the koala. So keep your dog on a leash if you're going for a walk in the koala habitat, and keep your dog inside at night, because this is when most accidents happen. For the loss of habitat, ask council to stop allocating so much land for development. Maybe, the housing crisis is not just for koalas, it's for all of us, the increase in rents and the lack of things like habitats being affordable, because all the housing is being used for other purposes, whether it's investment, whether it's holidaying. So yeah, that's a big one.
Okay.
You can also plant trees in your yard. Well, seriously, you can plant trees, koala trees in your yard. Ask council to plant trees in the town. Absolutely, koala trees. Yeah.
About your job, how did you end up being a vet for koalas? So it's a very special.
I was extremely fortunate to have the right opportunity at the right time. So there's no specific training to become a wildlife vet. So vets have a standard education, and then after they decide to specialize, whether they want to do small animals or farm animals or wildlife animals in my case. So no, I didn't have any formal trainings at university, and the Koala Hospital needed a vet, and for me, it's been my passion to try and become a wildlife vet. To something that's so meaningful, so great. So I was fortunate enough that the opportunity was there for me.
Oh, okay. And you said earlier that you came in 2019?
Yes.
Before the fire? Or
2018, yeah. No, so I was here during the fires.
Yeah.
I wasn't in Port Macquarie. I lived in Coffs Harbour back then. And so I wasn't working as a vet back then because I graduated overseas, so I was working on my equivalence. So I wasn't here during the fires, no.
Okay.
I mean, I was in Australia, but not here in Port Macquarie.
Okay. How do you think the development will go? So, do you think with all the work you do, it gets better, or do you think it's going more the way down?
Koalas are facing a serious challenge. Like,
Yeah.
As I said, the number of admissions is way down compared to what it used to be just because there aren't any koalas out there anymore. Not as much as they used to be. So the future is very, it's looking not great. But because we're building this breeding facility, in the next few years, we really hope to release lots of koalas in the wild, and
Yeah.
hopefully, things will turn for the better for koalas in the next few years. But if we don't do more for koalas nationwide, then the situation of koalas is not
Okay.
looking good.
Yeah. Thank you very much that you had the time to
No
answer a
worries,
few
my pleasure.
questions. Yeah.
My pleasure.